Get ready for a journey to the most magical place in the world. You better believe that I'm talking about Walt Disney World, Disney's foremost entertainment megaplex. This expansive theme park has bewitched and charmed millions since its grand opening over 50 years ago. We've gathered up 100 fascinating facts about this incredible undertaking, so grab some popcorn, put on your ears, and keep an eye out for Mickey. Let's get started. Number 1. Walt Disney knew he needed a lot of land for his Florida project, so he went incognito. Starting in 1964, Disney agents used fake company names like the tongue-in-cheek MT Lot Real Estate to buy up 27,000 acres of Florida swampland on the cheap. Number 2. The subterfuge worked until a reporter directly asked Walt if he was behind the land grab. His stunned reaction gave away the secret and prices skyrocketed overnight. But by then, Disney had secured enough land, twice the size of Manhattan, to build his dream resort in Florida. Walt paid under $200 an acre on average. After the reveal, nearby land shot up to $80,000 an acre. It was one of the savviest land deals in history, setting the stage for Walt Disney World. Number 3. Building a new Disney resort in Florida also meant building a government. In 1967, Disney persuaded the state to create the Reedy Creek Improvement District, a special autonomous district encompassing Walt Disney World's property. This gave Disney near total control over zoning, infrastructure, and services on his land. Number 4. Reedy Creek could build roads and utilities, run its own fire departments and security, and even raise taxes and issue bonds, functioning almost like a separate county. They even got authorization for a nuclear power plant, though Disney never built one. Walt's team argued they needed this freedom to construct Epcot, an experimental city without meddling from local governments. The end result? To this day, Disney World essentially self-governs its property, an arrangement that helped make the Vacation Kingdom possible. Number 5. Epcot was originally something very different from the park we know. Walt Disney envisioned Epcot as an actual city, the experimental prototype community of tomorrow, where people would live, work, and learn in a constantly evolving futuristic community. In October 1966, just weeks before his death, Walt filmed a presentation in which he described Epcot as a living blueprint of the future, a planned city of 20,000 with efficient mass transit, modern homes, and advanced technology in daily life. This film was Walt's final on-screen appearance. Number 6. After Walt passed, the ambitious city plan was shelved, but the idea lived on. Epcot was reborn as a theme park in 1982, showcasing innovation and international culture. The park's very name is a tribute to Walt's grand vision for a utopian city of tomorrow. Number 7. Walt Disney never saw his Florida resort completed. He died in December 1966, but his older brother, Roy O. Disney, stepped in to keep the dream alive. Roy postponed his retirement to oversee construction, often telling the team, "We're going to do this just the way Walt wanted it." As the project neared opening in 1971, Roy made a poignant decision. The resort would be named Walt Disney World, not just Disney World, in honor of his brother. Number 8. Many executives thought Disney World was easier to market, but Roy insisted. "No, I want it that way. That was Walt's. That's Walt Disney World." Thanks to Roy, the very name of the resort is a daily tribute to the man whose vision built it. Roy dedicated Walt Disney World on October 25, 1971, with Mickey Mouse at his side, declaring it a tribute to the philosophy and life of Walter Elias Disney. Sadly, Roy passed away just 2 months after the Magic Kingdom opened, but not before fulfilling Walt's last dream and putting his name in lights. Number 9. Opening day at Walt Disney World was October 1st, 1971. Ever cautious after Disneyland's overcrowded 1955 debut, Disney actually staged a low-key preview month before an official dedication. On that first morning, only about 10,000 guests showed up, far fewer than the 300,000 people Florida officials had braced for. Number 10. Jack Lindquist, Disney's marketing manager, personally picked a first family from the waiting crowd, the Windsor family from Lakeland, Florida, who had camped out overnight in their car to be there. The Windsors, mom, dad, and 2 young sons, were welcomed as the first official guests of Walt Disney World. Number 11. Disney then surprised them with a lifetime silver pass, granting free admission for life. They still show up in the parks to this day, enjoying the magic on Mickey's dime. Thus began the tradition of Disney honoring its first visitors, and the Windsor family's place in Disney lore was sealed, along with that coveted silver pass. Number 12. Building the Magic Kingdom on Florida swampland was a colossal engineering feat. Disney's teams literally moved Earth to create the park's picturesque waterways and foundation. They drained and dredged a 200-acre swamp to create the Seven Seas Lagoon in front of the Magic Kingdom. All that mucky soil didn't go to waste. It was used to build up the ground level and bury a network of tunnels, the famous utilidors beneath the park. Number 13. Magic Kingdom sits on a vast man-made plateau about 14 feet high. The utilidor service tunnels run at true ground level, and the park was constructed on top of them. Number 14. As a bonus, during excavation, Disney discovered a layer of bright white sand, which they repurposed to create the beaches at the Polynesian and contemporary resorts. So when you stroll the sandy shores of Seven Seas Lagoon, you're walking on real Florida sand that was once buried under the Magic Kingdom. Disney essentially turned a swamp into a solid foundation, and even a tropical lagoon by terrain editing on a massive scale, setting the stage for the enchanted castle and lands to rise above. Number 15. One of Walt Disney World's greatest hidden secrets is literally hidden under your feet. The utilidor tunnels allow cast members, supplies, and even trash to move invisibly below Magic Kingdom. Walt conceived the idea after he saw a costumed cowboy wander through Disneyland's Tomorrowland. A Frontierland cowboy in the future broke the show. Determined to avoid such immersion breaks in Florida, Disney built Magic Kingdom with a basement, an extensive 392,000 square foot network of corridors, access doors, and rooms at ground level, with the park constructed above. Number 16. These climate-controlled tunnels house everything from cast cafeterias and locker rooms to a hair salon and rehearsal spaces. They're color-coded by zone, so a lost pirate can find their way back to Adventureland. There's even a unique smell, a faintly sweet, musty tunnel smell that longtime cast members know well. Thanks to the utilidors, characters pop up in the right lands as if by magic. Garbage vanishes from bins, sucked away by an underground vacuum system, and Magic Kingdom maintains its illusion of seamless fantasy. It's a whole underground city that guests never see, one of Walt Disney World's most clever behind-the-scenes innovations. Number 17. When Walt Disney World opened, guests needed not just an admission ticket, but also ride coupons, the famous A, B, C, D, and E tickets that Disneyland had popularized. In 1971, adult admission to the Magic Kingdom cost only $3.50, but to experience the top attractions, you had to purchase coupon booklets. The most exciting rides, like Haunted Mansion or 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, required the coveted E-tickets, which cost about 90 cents each. That's why even today, people call something a real E-ticket ride when it's an exciting experience. Lesser attractions might take a C or D coupon, and gentle rides a B or A. Disney did this to control crowds and generate per-ride revenue. The ticket booths featured delightful artwork and became souvenirs in themselves. Number 18. The system lasted until 1982, when WDW switched to one-price general admission, retiring the coupon books. But the legacy lives on. Those e-ticket thrills are still a Disney hallmark, even if you no longer have to pull a paper ticket from your booklet to hop aboard Space Mountain. Number 19. Cinderella Castle may look like a fairy tale fortress of stone, but it's actually a modern engineering marvel, and it's built to last. One persistent myth claims the castle can be disassembled before a hurricane, but this is pure urban legend. In truth, Cinderella Castle is a steel and fiberglass structure anchored firmly to concrete footings. It cannot be taken apart, and it doesn't need to be. The castle was designed to withstand Florida's hurricane force winds. It's strong, no sinking in the swamp issues here, and meets strict building codes. And unlike real old castles, this one has no bricks at all. Its stone-look walls are fiber-reinforced gypsum and fiberglass over steel. This means Cinderella Castle is both sturdy and surprisingly lightweight. Number 20. In 2004, when 3 hurricanes hit Central Florida, the castle weathered them without a scratch. So rest assured, in a storm, the castle isn't going anywhere. And no, Disney can't lower it into the ground or remove the spires. Cinderella Castle stands tall through wind and rain, a beacon of fantasy against even the forces of nature. Number 21. Cinderella Castle also employs a classic Imagineering trick to appear grander than it actually is: forced perspective. At 189 feet tall, it's the tallest Disney castle at the time of its construction, but it would look even taller if you didn't know the secret. Designers gradually scaled down the size of architectural details as the castle rises. The windows and turrets near the top are much smaller than those at ground level. Your eye, assuming they're normal sized, is fooled into perceiving a much loftier structure. Number 22. In reality, Cinderella Castle isn't even 200 feet tall. Disney deliberately kept it under 200 feet to avoid FAA regulations that would require an aircraft beacon on top. By comparison, New York's Plaza Hotel, which the castle vaguely echoes, is over 20 stories, far taller. But thanks to forced perspective, the castle's slender upper towers and teeny tiny high windows make it feel towering. Disney painters even use progressively lighter paint shades toward the top to enhance the height illusion. Next time you're there, look up. Those huge, lofty spires are probably smaller around than you are. It's a big visual trick that makes the Magic Kingdom centerpiece truly enchanting. Number 23. The crown jewel of Cinderella Castle is found on the inside, a breathtaking series of mosaic murals that tell the story of Cinderella. Imagineer Dorothea Redmond designed the 5 grand mosaic panels that line the castle's archway, and artisan Hans Joachim Scharf, a master mosaicist, assembled them piece by piece. Each mural is 15 feet tall and 10 feet wide. Together, they contain thousands of glass and stone tiles in over 500 colors. Many of the tiles are fused with sterling silver and 24-karat gold. Yeah, real gold, giving the artwork an opulent glow. Look closely and you'll notice fun details. The evil stepsisters have facial hues reflecting their jealousy and envy. One's face is subtly green, the other red. Number 24. Creating the mosaics took a team of 6 craftsmen over 2 years, hand cutting and setting each piece. They even used mother-of-pearl and translucent smalty, a type of Italian glass, for shimmering effects. The result is a gleaming fairy tale comic strip told in stone. It's one of the most elaborate mosaic installations in North America, and millions of guests walk right by it. So next time you wander through the castle, pause to appreciate the artistry. Those sparkling images of Cinderella's story are literally worth their weight in gold. Number 25. Walt Disney World's attention to cleanliness and convenience is legendary, and it even shows in how they handle trash and guest habits. One famous Disney practice is placing trash cans every 30 steps or so in the parks. Walt Disney allegedly arrived at that number by observing how long people would hold onto litter before dropping it, about 25 to 30 paces. To this day, you're never more than a few yards from a trash can at Disney World, which greatly reduces litter. Number 26. Similarly, Disney made a strategic decision not to sell chewing gum anywhere on the property. Walt hated scraped gum on sidewalks, and by not offering gum for sale, the resort prevents thousands of sticky messes. Guests who want gum can bring their own, but you won't find it in any gift shop. And it works. You'll rarely spot gum on a Disney railing or walkway. These small policies are part of a bigger philosophy. If you design for good behavior, guests will follow. Number 27. Funnily enough, custodial cast members report that the most common litter they do have to sweep up are guide maps and Mickey bar sticks. Number 28. Ever notice the names painted on the second-story windows along Main Street, USA? Those are not real businesses. They're tributes to the people who built Walt Disney World. Imagineers, artists, and Disney executives who made significant contributions have their names emblazoned on these decorative windows, effectively serving as the credits of the Magic Kingdom. For example, one window above a Main Street confectionery lists Magic Kingdom Casting Agency, inviting you to be a star, and underneath it, the name Walter E. Disney, founder and director. Another honors Disney legend Mark Davis with a humorously themed Safari Outfitters ad since he worked on Jungle Cruise. Famed Imagineer Bob Gurr, who designed many Disney ride vehicles, has a window for a fictional vehicle company, fittingly referencing his designs. There's even a window for Roy Disney, a Flying Fish Club advertisement, nodding to his love of fishing. These windows are one of Imagineering's highest honors. Recipients have to retire and meet rigorous criteria to earn one. Next time you stroll Main Street, look up and you'll see Walt Disney World's Hall of Fame written in gold leaf. It's a touching detail that keeps the people behind the magic in the story, if only for those who pause and read the windows above. Number 29. Walt Disney World is packed with clever secrets and Easter eggs, but perhaps the most famous are the hidden Mickeys. A hidden Mickey is the subtle outline of Mickey Mouse's head and ears, the classic tri-circle silhouette tucked into attractions, decor, and architecture by playful Imagineers. The tradition began unofficially in the 1980s and grew into a full-fledged scavenger hunt that fans adore. By some counts, there are hundreds of hidden Mickeys across Walt Disney World, and over 1,000 across all Disney properties. Number 30. There's a hidden Mickey formed by solar panels on the rooftops of the Universe of Energy Pavilion, visible from the monorail. Number 31. The carpet patterns in the Grand Floridian Resort, hidden Mickeys. Number 32. On Splash Mountain, look at the cloud of smoke in the final lift hill scene. It's a Mickey shape. Number 33. Even the solar panels at Epcot's Mission Space are arranged as a giant hidden Mickey when viewed from above. Imagineers can get very creative. In the Great Movie Ride, which is now closed, the gangster's bullet holes in a wall formed a Mickey. Number 34. Spotting these little surprises is like finding secret autographs left by the designers. There are guidebooks and websites devoted to cataloging them. Hunting for hidden Mickeys has become a metagame for Disney buffs, a way to see the parks with fresh eyes on each visit and notice details many people walk right by. Once you start looking, you'll find Mickey's unmistakable outline popping up in the most unexpected places. Number 35. On October 25, 1971, Walt Disney World held its official grand opening ceremony, and in true Disney fashion, it was filled with character. Literally. At the dedication in front of Cinderella Castle, Mickey Mouse stood beside Roy O. Disney. Roy introduced Mickey to the gathered crowd as the one who's really in charge around here. It was a heartwarming moment. Mickey, who had launched Walt's empire back in 1928, was on hand to help dedicate Walt Disney World to its creator. The ceremony included a 1,076-piece marching band and 50,000 balloons, but many recall Mickey and Roy together as the most iconic image. That day, Disney formally declared Walt Disney World is a tribute to the philosophy and life of Walter Elias Disney. May Walt Disney World bring joy and inspiration. Ever since, Mickey Mouse has been considered the honorary host of Walt Disney World. Number 36. In fact, for the park's 50th anniversary in 2021, the partners statue of Walt and Mickey, located in front of the castle, was gilded and highlighted as a centerpiece of the celebration, reinforcing that Walt's true partner Mickey is still welcoming guests, 50+ years later, to the place where dreams come true. Number 37. When Magic Kingdom opened, one classic Disney attraction was conspicuously missing: Pirates of the Caribbean. Why? Because executives thought Floridians wouldn't be as interested in pirate lore so close to the actual Caribbean Sea. Instead, WED Enterprises, Disney's Imagineering division, had cooked up an elaborate Western River expedition for Frontierland, a boat ride through the Wild West with cowboy outlaws and Native American scenes, intended to be Florida's answer to pirates. However, when guests poured into Magic Kingdom in 1971, the number one question was, where are the pirates? Crowds flooded City Hall with complaints that Pirates of the Caribbean wasn't there. Disney quickly reversed course. Then CEO Card Walker ordered an East Coast Pirates ride to be built immediately to satisfy guests. Plans for the Western River expedition were put on hold and ultimately never built. In just about 2 years, Imagineer Mark Davis cranked out a scaled-down Pirates of the Caribbean for Florida, which opened in 1973. It wasn't as large as Disneyland's, but it did the trick. Fans were delighted to finally sail past peg-legged buccaneers in Adventureland. As for Western River Expedition, aside from a few concepts recycled elsewhere, it became one of Disney's most famous unbuilt attractions. Number 38. Country Bear Jamboree has been making Magic Kingdom guests laugh since opening day. But did you know these banjo-strumming bears were originally designed for a completely different park? In the mid-1960s, Walt Disney planned a ski resort in California's Mineral King Valley. Imagineer Mark Davis was tasked with creating a show for the ski lodge and came up with a troupe of musical bears. Walt loved the concept, though the Mineral King project ultimately fell through by 1968. Rather than shelve the idea, Disney transplanted it to the new Florida park. The Country Bear Jamboree became one of Magic Kingdom's opening day attractions. It was an immediate hit, and the following year, Disney even cloned it for Disneyland. So, if not for that cancelled ski resort, we might never have seen Big Al, Liver Lips, or the rest of the singing bears. Number 39. The show is also notable as the last attraction personally supervised by Walt, albeit for a different venue. 5 decades later, Country Bear Jamboree is still going strong in Frontierland, one of the few remaining originals. Number 40. Step into Liberty Square at Magic Kingdom and you step back in time, right down to some pretty peculiar period-accurate details. For one, you won't find a single restroom labeled in Liberty Square. The only public bathrooms are tucked away inside restaurants. This isn't an oversight, it's intentional. In colonial America of the 1700s, there was no indoor plumbing, so to keep to theming, Liberty Square's public facilities are kept to a minimum, and any necessary restrooms are technically in adjoining lands. Number 41. Even more eye-opening, take a look at the pavement. You'll notice a brownish-colored winding path embedded in the Liberty Square streets. Yes, that's supposed to represent exactly what you think it is. In colonial days, folks would dump chamber pot contents out the window, resulting in, well, a river of you-know-what in the streets. Disney Imagineers included a subtle brown pavement strip to mimic this historical reality. Thankfully, it's abstract enough that many guests don't realize they're walking through colonial waste. Number 42. Liberty Square's design also features 13-star flags, period-appropriate building facades, and even replicas of the Liberty Bell and the Liberty Tree. But it's the hidden details like no restrooms and the sewage path that truly show Disney's commitment to theming. They went the extra mile to transport guests to the Revolutionary era. Maybe just hold it until Frontierland. Number 43. One of Magic Kingdom's opening day showpieces was the Hall of Presidents, featuring life-sized audio animatronic figures of all US presidents, from George Washington up to the then-current Richard Nixon. Never before had so many animatronics been assembled on one stage. It was an extension of Walt's personal patriotism, and an evolution of the One President show, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. The Hall of Presidents has been updated over the years as new commanders-in-chief take office, adding Gerald Ford through Joe Biden for a total of 46 figures today. Number 44. In 1993, something special happened. Bill Clinton became the first sitting president to personally record dialogue for his animatronic figure. Clinton's voice was added, giving a short speech, making his animatron the first to speak with the real president's own words. This started a tradition. Subsequent presidents, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and now Joe Biden, all lent their voices and input to the show. Obama even recorded his lines in the White House map room with Disney Imagineers. Number 45. The show's content has evolved too, shifting focus from just patriotism to the presidency's responsibilities. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect is seeing every US president in person. It's a surreal American history roll call, one that has continued to grow with each administration. So far, the Hall of Presidents has stood the test of time, updating seamlessly and reminding guests that the story of America is always adding new chapters and new presidents to the stage. Number 46. If you've ever enjoyed a Dole Whip or turkey leg at Walt Disney World and wondered where does the trash go, you might not have realized an entire high-tech garbage system is at work behind the scenes. In the Magic Kingdom, trash doesn't just sit around waiting to be picked up by custodians, it's whisked away in a moment by an underground vacuum network. The system is called AVAC, Automated Vacuum Assisted Collection, and here's how it works. There are 17 trash collection points hidden around the park. When cast members dump trash into special chutes, it gets sucked into a network of pneumatic tubes, hurtling through a vacuum pipe at 60 miles per hour toward a central compactor behind Splash Mountain. Every 15 minutes, like clockwork, the system flushes the trash with a giant whoosh. Guests never see or smell the refuse. It's literally out of sight, out of mind. This AVAC system was one of the first of its kind in the US, inspired by a similar setup in Sweden. It's been running since 1971, quietly keeping Magic Kingdom clean and efficient. The collected trash is compressed and removed, and much of it is now processed at Disney's recycling and energy facilities. The next time you toss a cup away in Tomorrowland, think about that. Your trash might be traveling underfoot at highway speeds to its final destination. Number 47. Monorails are practically synonymous with Disney futurism, and Walt Disney World boasts one of the most extensive monorail systems in the world. Gliding on 14.7 miles of track, the monorails connect Magic Kingdom and Epcot to Disney's flagship resorts and transportation hub. And they sure move a lot of people. As of recent estimates, Walt Disney World's monorail fleet carries roughly 150,000 passengers per day, making it the third busiest monorail system on the planet, behind only big urban systems in Tokyo and Chongqing. Number 48. If Disney's monorail were a US transit agency, its daily ridership would rival that of entire city metro systems. The current Mark 6 monorail trains were introduced in 1989 to 1991, and each can ferry about 360 guests per trip. They are so iconic that the onboard safety spiel is a pop culture meme. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Spanish for please stand clear of the doors. Millions of guests can recite it by heart. It's become a beloved catchphrase of Disney fandom. The monorails are not just transport, they're an attraction unto themselves, offering a smooth, elevated tour of Disney sights. From whisking excited families to the gates of Magic Kingdom to the memorable loop through Epcot's spaceship Earth, Disney's monorails deliver the magic in sleek, electric rocketing style. They embody Walt's optimism for transportation's future, and over 50 years later, they're still the highway in the sky to fun. Number 49. Have you ever ended a Disney day with a sore neck from craning to see over crowds? Thank Disney's foresight that you didn't also have to strain to see around big city skyscrapers. One huge benefit of Walt Disney World's vast property is its bubble of sky. There are no outside buildings intruding on sightlines. In the 1960s, Walt specifically chose Central Florida in part because it was so remote, giving him a blank canvas and control of the horizon. Disney legend Bob Jenny recalled how they had the perfect black at night, no city lights, which inspired WDW's first nighttime show. Number 50. In fact, the Magic Kingdom was so isolated at opening that they worried guests leaving at night would have nothing to do. That led to the creation of the charming electrical water pageant, a floating parade of illuminated sea creatures on the Seven Seas Lagoon that premiered opening night 1971. It featured 14 barges strung with lights and a synthesized soundtrack. The show was a hit, and it directly inspired Disneyland's famous Main Street Electrical Parade the next year. Yes, the beloved snail and turtle light floats of the Electrical Parade have their DNA in a little free water pageant at Disney World. Remarkably, the electrical water pageant is still performed every single evening around Disney's lakes, making it the longest-running nighttime show at Walt Disney World. It's a quaint, almost low-tech spectacle by today's standards, but a truly enduring piece of Disney magic that owes its existence to Florida's wide-open darkness and Disney's desire to light up the night. Number 51. Epcot Center, Walt Disney World's second theme park, opened on October 1st, 1982, and it was nothing like Magic Kingdom. For one, Epcot had no Disney characters in it initially, by design. It was a park about technology, culture, and the future, not fairy tales. Early Epcot guests wandered pavilions sponsored by corporations and nations without a Mickey or Donald in sight. Characters eventually found their way in due to guest demand years later. The park's very name comes from Walt's acronym, Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, and fittingly, Epcot Center was massive. At 305 acres, it was more than double the size of Magic Kingdom. In fact, at the time of its construction, Epcot was the largest private construction project on Earth, costing an estimated $1 billion in 1980s dollars. Number 52. The icon of the park, Spaceship Earth, embodied Epcot's scale and ambition. This 18-story geodesic sphere not only contains a ride, but was also built with remarkable engineering. It's actually a sphere within a sphere, with a gap and gutter system so that rainwater never cascades off the sides into guests. When it rains, water is channeled through Spaceship Earth's panels to the World Showcase Lagoon, keeping folks below nice and dry. Number 53. And speaking of World Showcase, Epcot's World's Fair half encircles a 40-acre lagoon and features pavilions for initially 9 countries, each staffed by actual citizens of those natures in a cultural exchange program. The American Adventure Pavilion took patriotic pride to a new level with one of the most complex audio animatronic shows ever created, featuring historical figures like Mark Twain and Benjamin Franklin conversing via an 8-ton moving stage. All told, Epcot Center was a gamble that paid off, expanding the definition of what a theme park could be: a permanent World's Fair, a celebration of human achievement, and yes, eventually a place where you might hug Mickey Mouse and learn about hydroponics in the same day. Number 54. Look out across Epcot's World Showcase Lagoon and you might notice a few missing countries. Several pavilion sites were reserved for nations that never came to be, and some even had initial work done. One famous example is the Germany Pavilion's unrealized Rhine River cruise. This boat ride would have floated past scenes of German landmarks, from the Black Forest to Oktoberfest inside the Germany Pavilion. It was announced in the 1970s, and Disney went as far as constructing the show-building shell and even a load area facade. Those large wooden doors in the back of the Germany Plaza were supposed to be the entrance. However, the Rhine River cruise was put on hold after Epcot opened and ultimately cancelled due to budget cuts and a lack of sponsor. The show building behind Germany remains empty to this day, a hidden space behind painted doors. Number 55. Similarly, World Showcase had plans for a Spain pavilion, an Israel pavilion, and an Equatorial Africa pavilion. The last was even announced, with famous conservationist Jane Goodall and author Alex Haley involved. Equatorial Africa would have featured a live animal show and a drum circle. Though these pavilions never materialized, remnants linger. The outpost between China and Germany is a token nod to Africa, and Morocco ended up fulfilling part of the concept in 1984. In 2022, Disney announced interest in possibly adding Brazil, and blue sky concepts have swirled about other countries. As of now, World Showcase still has room for expansion, spots saved for when the right theme and sponsor align. So if you've ever thought World Showcase is amazing but could have even more countries, well, Disney thought so too. Perhaps someday you'll sail the Rhine or walk the streets of Madrid in Epcot. Until then, a little Imagineering lore lies behind those German pavilion doors. Number 56. Epcot's Morocco Pavilion is one of the most authentic environments in the World Showcase, and for good reason. The King of Morocco at the time, King Hassan II, sent his own royal artisans to Epcot to design and build it in 1984. The pavilion's mosaics, plasterwork, and carvings were done by hand, incorporating traditional Islamic artistic rules. For instance, you'll notice there are no human or animal figures in the artwork, only geometric and floral designs per Islamic art customs. The Moroccan government also requested that the pavilion's signature prayer tower, a replica of the Kotobia minaret in Marrakesh, not be illuminated at night, out of respect, since functioning prayer towers aren't lit up. Disney respected this. If you watch Epcot's Evening Lagoon show, you'll see Morocco remains dark while other pavilions have lights shining. Number 57. Speaking of lights, Morocco's pavilion had another unique challenge. When Imagineers built the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror at Disney's Hollywood Studios nearby, it was tall enough to be visible from Epcot. To avoid breaking the World Showcase illusion, they gave Tower of Terror a Moroccan-inspired exterior color and design on its upper stories, so from Morocco's vantage, it blends right in. So the Hollywood Tower Hotel in Florida actually shares a bit of Moorish-style DNA with Morocco's real architecture. From the meticulous tile work, check out the beautiful mosaics in the Fez House and along the fountain, to the genuine Moroccan crafts sold in the marketplace, this pavilion is a gem of cultural representation. It even earned King Hassan II's seal of approval. A framed letter from him is on display, dedicating the pavilion as a symbol of cross-cultural friendship. Number 58. When Disney MGM Studios, now Disney's Hollywood Studios, opened in 1989, it was not only a theme park, but also a real working movie studio. In the late 1980s, Disney was producing films and animation in Florida, and the park's original design featured production facilities integrated with attractions. Visitors could take a backlot tram tour and peek at sound stages, costume shops, and even live filming. One highlight was the Magic of Disney Animation Tour, where guests walked through a corridor overlooking actual animators at work. This wasn't for show. Disney's Florida Animation Unit created entire films here. Classics like Mulan and Lilo and Stitch were drawn and painted in those glass-walled studios by a team of Disney artists in Lake Buena Vista. Guests could watch through the windows as the next Disney movie came to life, which is mind-blowing in hindsight. It gave the park real studio cred beyond the theming. Number 59. The live-action side also produced the Mickey Mouse Club TV show on a soundstage, launching the careers of Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake, among others. For opening day, the park's icon was the Earful Tower, a water tower with Mickey ears, just like a studio lot might have, and the Streets of America backlot set made you feel like you were on location in New York or Hollywood. However, competition and changing economics, and perhaps the logistical headache of tourists and production crews sharing space, led to the studio operations winding down by the mid-2000s. The animation department closed in 2004, and the backlot tour shut in 2014. Today, the park has pivoted fully to a traditional theme park, with Star Wars and Pixar taking center stage. Number 60. Disney's rivalry with Universal Studios literally shaped Disney's third park. In the 1980s, upon hearing that Universal planned to open a movie theme park in Orlando, Michael Eisner, Disney's CEO, fast-tracked the development of Disney MGM Studios to beat Universal to the punch. And that they did. Disney's Studio Park opened on May 1st, 1989, a year before Universal Studios Florida. It was a bold move. Disney announced their Studio Park concept after Universal had already begun planning theirs, causing some contention. The rush meant that the initial Disney MGM Studios park was fairly small, a half-day park at first, with only a handful of attractions aside from the long backlot tour, but it served its purpose by stealing Universal's thunder. Number 61. On Disney MGM's opening day, Universal's CEO sent Eisner a telegram joking, "Congratulations on the competition. See you at the movies." Not to be outdone, Universal opened in 1990 and soon expanded. The result was a decades-long theme park rivalry in Orlando. Both resorts kept upping the ante. Thrill rides, new lands, and marketing campaigns, which greatly benefited theme park fans. Fun fact. When Universal's Islands of Adventure opened in 1999, Disney quickly announced big new projects like Mission Space and Everest to keep attention. More recently, Universal's Wizarding World of Harry Potter spurred Disney to create lands like Pandora and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. The competitive one-upsmanship continues to this day. So in a sense, we can thank Universal for prompting Disney to build a studio park earlier than planned, and thank Disney for pushing Universal to innovate too. As one industry observer quipped, Universal makes Disney better, and Disney makes Universal better. For guests, it's a win-win. Two entertainment giants locked in a constant battle to wow us next. Number 62. The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror isn't just an ordinary drop tower. Of course, it has a story and style only Disney could create. But it also has some unique engineering tricks. For one, Tower of Terror's elevators don't simply freefall, they are pulled down by cables, accelerating faster than gravity. This means riders drop faster than a natural freefall, creating a moment of true weightlessness where you float out of your seat. Seatbelts nice and snug, please. When you feel your stomach leave you, that's because the ride vehicle is literally yanking you downward at about 39 miles per hour, faster than an object would normally fall. This innovative system was the first of its kind, and it produces extra thrills and screams. Number 63. Another cool aspect. After the elevator falls and rises a few times, it doesn't just take you back to unload. Instead, it pushes the vehicle horizontally out of the drop shaft and back to the boarding area. Tower of Terror's ride vehicles are self-propelled automated vehicles that move on their own from one shaft to another, a complex ride system that was an Imagineering triumph in the 90s. Tower of Terror remains a highlight of Disney's Hollywood studios, and its faster-than-gravity drop trick is a big reason why seasoned fans still get butterflies every time those elevator doors slide shut with a clank. Number 64. Ever finish a Disney vacation and wonder, where'd all my stuff go? Fear not, it might be at Walt Disney World's legendary Lost and Found, which over the years has seen some truly astonishing inventories. On average, about 210 pairs of sunglasses are turned in every day at Disney World's Lost and Found. Over the course of 3 decades, more than 1.65 million sunglasses were gathered, and it's not just shades. An average year sees thousands of phones, cameras, hats, and autograph books lost by forgetful guests. Some of the strangest items ever misplaced at Disney include a glass eye, a prosthetic leg, and even a full-size wedding dress. Yes, all of those were at one point turned into Lost and Found. Number 65. Disney's Lost and Found cast members pride themselves on reconnecting people with their belongings. In one recent year, they successfully returned over 130,000 items to guests. And if you lose something on Disney's property now, technology might help. You can fill out an online form that links to a central database. Disney then uses a high-tech system in partnership with Chargeback to match lost items with reports. Of course, it does help to put your name on things. Many lost items are labeled, like kids' hats, and they find their way home. So the next time you lose your favorite Mickey ears on Space Mountain, don't despair. There's a decent chance that item will turn up in the vast catalog of Lost and Found, where Disney's dedicated cast might just perform a little extra magic to reunite you with your missing souvenir. Number 66. With over 75,000 cast members, Walt Disney World is the largest single-site employer in the United States, essentially a small city of workers dedicated to making the magic. This massive team includes everything from ride operators, chefs, and housekeepers, to engineers, IT technicians, pyrotechnicians, and animal caretakers. It takes a village, or rather a whole metropolitan workforce, to run a 40-square-mile resort. And because Walt Disney World is so large, it even has the trappings of a municipality for its employees. Cast member health clinics, company-sponsored daycare, tons of training facilities, and costuming warehouses that issue over 1.5 million individual costume pieces a year. Number 67. Disney even operates a Disney University on property. Not an accredited school, but an internal training center where new cast members take orientation, traditions, and learn the ropes. There's also a backstage cafeteria network. One cafeteria under Magic Kingdom is jokingly called the Mousecateria. Cast can get their hair trimmed at a backstage salon to meet Disney's appearance standards. At one point, the resort had an on-site grocery store for cast and a credit union. With so many employees, it's no surprise Disney has unique roles like skunk whisperers, cast members who humanely relocate pesky skunks from public areas, and a global flag service team that raises, lowers, and cares for the hundreds of flags around the parks daily. The resort operates 24/7, 365, and thousands of cast work overnight shifts to clean streets, tend to landscaping, and rehearse shows after hours. Number 68. Walt Disney World's workforce is so large that when the resort closed for COVID-19, it was akin to an entire country's workforce suddenly stopping. Fortunately, the magic resumed, and the cast members, often called the heart of the magic, were there to welcome everyone home again. Disney often says that it takes people to make the dream a reality, and nowhere is that more evident than in the army of cast members who keep Walt Disney World running so smoothly that the hard work is invisible. All the guests see is the magic. Number 69. One of Walt Disney World's most unique amenities is something you might never experience unless you tie the knot on property: the Fairy Tale Weddings Pavilion. Tucked on a private little island next to the Grand Floridian Resort, the Wedding Pavilion opened in 1995 and was specifically designed for Disney's picture-perfect weddings. Here's the enchanting detail. The chapel is intentionally positioned so that when the bride is standing at the altar, she can gaze through a huge window and see Cinderella Castle framed in the distance. It's an absolutely stunning sight. The castle appears right behind the officiant in the sightline of the couple. They even planted trees along the shoreline to naturally border the view of the castle in that window. Disney thought of everything. The chapel seats 250 and is all white Victorian elegance, complete with stained glass and a steeple topped by, what else, a glass coach weather vane. Couples who marry there often arrive in Cinderella's horse-drawn glass coach or depart in an antique car. Since opening, the Wedding Pavilion has hosted thousands of ceremonies, sometimes up to 6 or 7 in a day. Number 70. Disney's Fairy Tale Weddings team offers all the extra magic too. From Cinderella-inspired ball gowns to themed wedding cakes. One was even shaped like Spaceship Earth. The most expensive package even lets the couple have a grand reception in the Magic Kingdom after hours with a private fireworks display. It's not uncommon to see a bride in a big white dress around the resorts. Disney is a popular honeymoon spot after all. But some lucky couples take it a step further and get married in that idyllic chapel with the castle in view. It's about as storybook as a wedding can get, short of saying I do in the castle courtyard itself. And yes, Mickey and Minnie can attend your reception in formal wear if you wish. Disney will make whatever dream come true for a price. But that perfect castle-framed ceremony photo, for Disney romantics, it's priceless. Number 71. The Seven Seas Lagoon and adjacent Bay Lake aren't just pretty waterfronts, they're also home to a thriving population of largemouth bass, thanks to Disney's early environmental work. When Walt Disney World was being built, Bay Lake was actually cleaned out and refilled. The Imagineers stocked the waterways with 70,000 young bass fish. They carefully cultivated the aquatic ecosystem, and fishing was initially only allowed for catch and release. Over the years, those fingerlings grew into whoppers. Bay Lake and the lagoon have produced bass over 10 pounds. In fact, the heaviest largemouth bass caught on property weighed 14 pounds 6 ounces, which is trophy-sized. Disney capitalized on this by offering guided bass fishing excursions for guests starting in the 70s, an activity still available today. You can book a fishing trip and a friendly guide will take you out on a pontoon boat, supplying rods, reels, and bait, and you might catch 5 to 10 bass in a morning. Number 72. An interesting side note, because Bay Lake and Seven Seas Lagoon are artificial and landlocked, Disney has a controlled fishing environment with little outside influence. They even have their own fishery team that monitors the health of the fish and water quality. Number 73. Decades ago, Exxon sponsored the Living Waters program, and they helped restock the lakes with fish periodically as part of a sponsorship tie-in for Living with the Land in Epcot. Number 74. Central Florida is famously the lightning capital of the United States, and Walt Disney World takes thunderstorms very seriously. They've embedded protection in plain sight. Scattered all across the parks are hundreds of hidden lightning rods. Many decorative spires, weather vanes, flagpoles, and rooftops are actually functional lightning arresters. For example, the quaint copper weather vane atop the Hall of Presidents building, that's a lightning rod. The tall pyramidion spikes on each corner of the Tower of Terror, those too are lightning rods, disguised as ornamentation. Even Mickey Mouse gets in on it. One of the Mickey topiary statues at Fantasia Gardens has a copper ear that serves as a lightning rod for the mini golf area. All these rods are connected to grounding cables that safely route lightning strikes into the ground and away from people. Because Walt Disney World is so large and gets frequent storms, it can average a couple hundred lightning strikes on property each year. Thanks to the hidden rod network, there hasn't been significant damage to attractions. The system quietly does its job. Number 75. You might have noticed that Disney is quick to suspend outdoor rides and shows at the first sign of lightning within approximately 10 miles. They monitor weather closely. But if a sudden storm does crack overhead, those castle finials and spaceship spires are ready to take the hit. One particularly clever design, the tallest spire on Cinderella Castle has a gold-colored ornament. That's actually 24-karat gold leaf on a copper rod, forming an excellent conductor to protect the castle. Number 76. It's hard to imagine Walt Disney World without fireworks lighting up the night, except at Animal Kingdom, where you will never see them. The park has a no fireworks policy outside of special effects and shows to avoid disturbing the hundreds of animals living there. In fact, Animal Kingdom is carefully designed as a zoological park first and theme park second. That's why you won't find balloons for sale there or plastic straws and cup lids. From day one, opening on Earth Day 1998, Disney's Animal Kingdom prohibited items that could accidentally harm animals. All straws in the park are biodegradable paper and any plastic lids are absent. Drinks are served open cup or with stir lid alternatives. Balloons are a no-go because if one escaped and popped in an animal habitat, a curious creature might ingest it. The park even uses special bio bags for trash that won't endanger wildlife if one were to blow out on the savannah. And did you notice Animal Kingdom has an earlier closing time than the other parks? That's partly so the animals can have a quiet evening routine and keepers can tend to them without nighttime spectaculars going off. Number 77. Animal care extends backstage too. Animal Kingdom has a state-of-the-art veterinary hospital and nutrition center on site. Even landscaping is done with the animals in mind. Many plants in the savannah are edible species the animals can snack on. Disney knew people would compare Animal Kingdom to a zoo, so they went above and beyond to emphasize conservation and welfare. The commitment paid off. Animal Kingdom is accredited by the AZA and has become the most visited zoo in the world. So if you're in Animal Kingdom and craving a drink, don't look for a plastic straw. The hippos and elephants thank you for using paper. And if you're missing fireworks, head to Magic Kingdom. The lions and giraffes will enjoy the peace and quiet while you enjoy the show elsewhere. Number 78. Animal Kingdom's Kilimanjaro Safaris isn't just big, it's enormous. At 110 acres, this one attraction is larger than the entire Magic Kingdom park. In fact, you could fit all of Disneyland, every land, every ride, inside the safari savannah space with room to spare. It's the biggest Disney theme park attraction in the world by area. When you ride those safari trucks, you're traveling nearly 2 miles through open plains, forests, and wetlands that over 30 species call home. And unlike a typical zoo exhibit, these animals appear to roam freely. Of course, Disney uses clever tricks to keep them and you safe. For example, you'll never see a predator and prey in the same space. The lions on Pride Rock are separated from the zebra and giraffes by hidden moats and berms that blend into the landscape. The safari's designers hid nearly invisible barriers all throughout. Elephants are deterred by concealed wire fences camouflaged by foliage, and deep channels keep the rhinos from diving over to visit the ostriches. The famous baobab trees you see are actually artificial and hollow, and they double as sheltered enclosures or feeders for animals at times. The savanna grass gets replanted constantly since the grazers munch it down. And to encourage the majestic lions to lounge in perfect view, Disney installed air-conditioned rocks on their kopje. Seriously. The big cats love the cooled stone ledges on hot days, so they'll sprawl out right where guests can see them. On cold mornings, those same rocks can be heated a bit to entice lions to warm up there. The result of all this ingenuity is that Kilimanjaro Safaris truly feels like an unpredictable wild journey. You might see a giraffe cross the road right in front of your truck. Happens often. You might have to detour around a stubborn rhino. No two safaris are alike. At about 22 minutes long, it's one of Disney's longest ride experiences and definitely the most sprawling. Walt Disney famously wanted live animals in Disneyland but was told it wasn't feasible. Well, Animal Kingdom proved that with enough imagination and 72,000 feet of camouflaged fencing, you can create a real-life adventure through African wildlife that's both authentic and theme park magic. Number 79. The Expedition Everest coaster in Animal Kingdom set records when it opened in 2006, for height, for cost, and for the giant Yeti that lives inside. Let's start with the stats. Everest stands 199.5 feet tall, becoming the tallest artificial mountain in Florida. Disney deliberately kept it under 200 feet to avoid that pesky aircraft beacon law. It also came with a towering price tag, roughly $100 million to build, making it the most expensive roller coaster ever at that time. Number 80. A big chunk of that budget went into the incredibly advanced Yeti animatronic, which was the largest and most complex figure Disney had ever created. 25 feet tall with 1,000 square feet of faux fur, and able to move with such power that it needed its own separate foundation. In A mode, the Yeti could lunge 5 feet horizontally and swing its arm in a terrifying swipe as riders sped by. It was so powerful, it caused structural stress on the mount inside of the coaster. After only a few months, Imagineers noticed hairline cracks forming where the Yeti's machinery was anchored. For safety, they switched the Yeti off from dynamic mode in 2006, and it has remained mostly stationary since. To simulate movement, Disney added strobing lights, hence fans dubbed it the Disco Yeti. Fixing the Yeti would require literally unbuilding part of the mountain, so it hasn't been fully repaired, much to Imagineer Joe Rohde's chagrin. He often said, "There's a way to fix it, but it's not easy." Even frozen in place, the Yeti is an impressive sight. Its hulking silhouette flashes above you near the end of the ride. Number 81. Aside from the Yeti drama, Expedition Everest is a masterpiece of theme. The queue is essentially a Nepalese museum of the Yeti's legend, filled with real artifacts that Disney's research team gathered from the Himalayas. The coaster itself features a unique track switch that sends you backwards in the dark through the mountain's core, evading the Yeti, a moment that still takes my breath away every time. Despite the Yeti being on the injured list, Expedition Everest remains one of Disney's most popular and thrilling rides. It's also a cultural touchstone. Local villagers from the Everest region visited Animal Kingdom and were moved by how accurately their folklore and environment were portrayed. Number 82. Walt Disney World has an entire resort dedicated to camping and the great outdoors, Fort Wilderness, which opened in November 1971, just a month after the Magic Kingdom. In the early years, Fort Wilderness offered a lot more than just campsites. It had a real steam-powered train that looped through the property. The Fort Wilderness Railroad opened in 1973, chugging campers around on a 3.5-mile route with open-air cars. It was charming, but it was also prone to technical issues. It derailed more than once, and in summer, the Florida heat made the ride less appealing. The railroad quietly stopped operations by 1977. If you explore Fort Wilderness today, you can still spot old track rails and trestles hidden in the woods, relics of the short-lived Fort Wilderness train. Number 83. Fort Wilderness also had a petting zoo where a young kid named John Lasseter once worked as a sweeper before he went on to make Toy Story. And it's home to one of Disney's longest-running shows, Hoop-Dee-Doo Musical Revue, a Wild West dinner show that's been playing with corny jokes and washboard solos since 1974. Number 84. Fort Wilderness is also where Disney tested the very first water park, River Country, in 1976. A rustic swimming hole-themed park along Bay Lake. River Country closed in 2001, and its slides and pools sat abandoned for years, becoming a famous urbex, or urban exploration curiosity, until Disney cleared the site to build a new hotel. Yet Fort Wilderness itself remains a fan favorite for its peaceful pine forests, roaming deer and rabbits, and unique offerings like trail rides on horseback and wagon hay rides at night. It's not unusual to see campers decorate their campsites with Disney lights and inflatables, especially during Halloween and Christmas, when Fort Wilderness becomes a themed display extravaganza courtesy of its loyal guests. The spirit of the wilderness Walt wanted, he was a big camping enthusiast, lives on, alongside some modern amenities like lawnmower races. Number 85. Walt Disney World is so large that for a time it even had its own airfield for guest use, the Lake Buena Vista Stoleport. STOL, or STOL, stands for Short Takeoff and Landing. This little airport, with a single 2,000-foot runway, opened in 1971 just south of the Magic Kingdom parking lot. It was intended for commuter air service. In 1972, Eastern Airlines, the official airline of WDW back then, ran a trial shuttle dubbed the Magical Express, no relation to the later bus service, using small 19-seat Twin Otter planes. Guests could hop a quick flight from Orlando's McCoy Airport, now MCO, directly onto Disney property, landing at the Stoleport near Magic Kingdom. The flight only took a few minutes. The service didn't last long. Between low demand and the introduction of faster highway routes, it quietly ceased by the late 1970s. The Stoleport runway, however, still sits there hidden among trees next to World Drive. Keen-eyed visitors can sometimes glimpse the strip of pavement from the monorail or certain resort high-rises. Number 86. The idea of guests flying to the Magic Kingdom directly was ahead of its time, in a way predicting the popularity of today's Magical Express buses and ride shares that whisk people right to Disney's doorstep from the airport. In recent years, there have been rumors and even permits suggesting the old airstrip could be repurposed for expanded transportation or even as a staging area for automated vehicles. For now, it remains a piece of forgotten Disney history. So if you ever drive past the solar farm shaped like Mickey on World Drive, know that just beyond the trees lies an abandoned Disney runway. Number 87. I'm going to Disney World! That's become the iconic cry of champions, literally. Since 1987, Disney has run its famous What's Next Super Bowl commercial campaign, where right after the Super Bowl game, the MVP player, and sometimes others, are filmed exclaiming that famous line. It started when quarterback Phil Simms of the New York Giants was paid $75,000 to say, "I'm going to Disney World," on the field after winning Super Bowl 21. And indeed, he and his family were whisked off to Disney the next day for a celebratory parade. The campaign was a hit and became an annual tradition. Every year, within hours of the Super Bowl's end, the winning player or players arrive at Walt Disney World, or Disneyland depending, for a hero's welcome down Main Street, USA, often still wearing their team jersey amid thousands of cheering park guests. Number 88. Over the years, Disney extended the gimmick to other sports and events. NBA Finals, World Series, even American Idol winners got in on the I'm going to Disney World fun. In one of the most memorable crossovers, after the 2007 Super Bowl, both Peyton Manning and coach Tony Dungy appeared at Magic Kingdom together. The phrase has so permeated pop culture that many people shout it for pure joy when something good happens. The commercials usually feature highlights of the game, followed by the player's victorious declaration. And believe it or not, Disney often films two versions, one for each team, in advance, since they have to be ready to air the ad the morning after the game. So even losing Super Bowl quarterbacks have found themselves sheepishly filming a line they never got to use. Number 89. When Walt Disney World turned 25 in 1996, Disney pulled off one of its boldest park transformations ever. They turned Cinderella Castle into a giant pink birthday cake. If you visited Magic Kingdom between October 1996 and January 1998, you couldn't miss it. The castle was covered in garish icing, candy cane stripes, 26 glowing candles, and inflatable gumdrops and lollipops. The 189-foot-tall structure was painted in bright pink icing tones. About 55,000 tablespoons of pink paint in 3 shades were used. Turrets were wrapped in red and white to resemble candy canes, and giant faux candies and lifesavers were affixed all over. At night, the candles flickered as if lit. It certainly was a surprise. Disney didn't announce the castle cake plan in advance, so guests arrived that fall to find their beloved Cinderella castle virtually unrecognizable. Reactions were mixed. Some thought it was fun and festive. Others absolutely loathed it. Complaints included, "My wedding photos are ruined by that Pepto-Bismol castle." Jokes abounded that Tinkerbell must have overdosed on sugar. Despite controversies, the castle cake is well remembered and has become an endearing piece of Disney nostalgia for many 90s kids. It lasted 15 months. Number 90. By early 1998, the castle was restored to its usual blue and gray glory, but not before Disney managed to sneak in one extra surprise. On the castle cake's last day, they removed one decorative candy to reveal the anniversary cupcake underneath, as a nod to the end of the celebration. Since then, Disney has generally stuck to projecting colors or temporarily draping the castle rather than repainting it outright. One exception, in 2004, they toilet papered the castle with Stitch's graffiti for one day, but let's not go there. Love it or hate it, the pink castle cake was one of the most daring thematic gambles for a Disney icon, and you have to admit it's pretty sweet in hindsight. Today, merchandise celebrating the castle cake is actually popular among retro Disney fans, proving that even Disney's gaudiest idea can frost its way into our hearts over time. Number 91. In 2020, Walt Disney World faced one of the most challenging moments in its history: an extended total shutdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic. For the first time ever, all 4 theme parks and essentially the entire resort closed to guests for more than a few days. In fact, the closure lasted nearly 4 months, from March 15th to July 11th, 2020. This was unprecedented. Previously, the parks had only closed for single days or so due to hurricanes or the 9/11 tragedy. During the closure, the resort was eerily empty. Maintenance and animal care staff remained working, of course, but the usual daily influx of 50,000 plus guests was zero. Number 92. When Disney World reopened in mid-July 2020, it did so with strict health and safety measures. Limited capacity, mandatory face masks, temperature screening at entrances, physical distancing markers in queues, and frequent hand sanitizing stations everywhere. Beloved practices like character meet and greets and parades were paused or modified. Instead of hugging Mickey, guests waved at him during surprise cavalcades that drove through the streets. Fireworks and large shows were put on hold to prevent crowds from gathering. It was a surreal time for Disney fans, walking down Main Street with everyone in masks and spacing out 6 feet apart, but also experiencing walk-on rides due to the low capacity. Cast members became safety ambassadors, gently reminding folks to keep their face coverings on. Disney even had an audio spiel with motherly authority: "For the comfort of all, masks must fully cover your nose and mouth." Despite the changes, many guests described the reopened parks as still magical, perhaps even more so given the significance of being back. Number 93. In a historic first, Walt Disney World celebrated its 50th anniversary in 2021 under pandemic conditions, with some festivities toned down. But gradually, entertainment returned. Masks came off in most places, and by 2022, the resort restored most offerings. The COVID closure will forever be a chapter in Disney World's story, proving that even the most magical place on Earth is not immune to world events. Number 94. One of Walt Disney World's most exclusive and mysterious places isn't an attraction at all. It's the fabled Cinderella Castle Suite, a private luxury apartment inside Cinderella Castle itself. This suite is the stuff of Disney legend. Originally, Walt Disney had planned a personal family apartment in the castle, much like his apartment over the firehouse in Disneyland, but he passed away before Walt Disney World opened, and the space went unused or as storage for decades. In 2006, as part of the Year of a Million Dreams promotion, Disney finally finished the suite, lavishly. They outfitted it all in full 17th century French royal style, with stained glass windows, a grand canopy bed, and a centerpiece marble tub under a twinkling night sky of fiber optic stars. The level of detail is absurd. The suite has an antique limestone fireplace with an illusion of flickering embers and a surprise visit by Jacques and Gus, Cinderella's mice, mosaic floor tiles with the Cinderella crest, and a parlor decorated with vintage-style furniture and a portrait of Cinderella that magically turns into a flat-screen TV. This suite can accommodate up to 6, with 2 queen beds and a pull-out couch, and has round-the-clock concierge service. If you stay there, you're the only overnight guest in Magic Kingdom. Number 95. Money alone cannot buy this experience. Disney does not rent out the castle suite for any advertised price. It's typically used for sweepstakes winners, VIPs, or occasionally charity auction packages. One went for $75,000 plus at auction. Celebrities from Tom Cruise to Kevin Jonas have reportedly stayed there. During the Year of a Million Dreams, one lucky family each day would be surprised with a night in the castle suite. Imagine winning that golden ticket. Number 96. Walt Disney World's Epcot Seas Pavilion, formerly the Living Seas, contains a little-known marvel. When it opened in 1986, its main aquarium was the largest saltwater tank in the world, holding 5.7 million gallons of water. That's big enough to submerge Spaceship Earth. In fact, divers hung a mock Spaceship Earth sign inside during maintenance once, joking that you could fit the whole icon in there. The aquarium was surpassed in size by newer mega aquariums in the 21st century, but it's still one of the globe's top 10 in volume. It's home to over 3,000 sea creatures, including sea turtles, rays, sharks, and a whole school of tropical fish. Number 97. Originally, the Living Seas took guests on a Hydrolator elevator ride to Sea Base Alpha, where you'd then ride bubble-shaped sea cabs through the coral reef tank. Now it's The Seas with Nemo and Friends, featuring characters from Finding Nemo leading you to Sea Base. But the giant aquarium remains the heart of it. Disney even runs a resort dive program. Certified scuba divers can pay to dive in the tank alongside the fish and Mickey-shaped coral. Number 98. The Seas Pavilion was built with the ability to dynamically adjust salinity and temperature, allowing them to house dolphins and manatees too. In fact, 2 manatees, Lil Joe and Lou, currently reside in a side pool as part of Disney's rehabilitation and research efforts. Guests can watch them munching on lettuce during feeding times. Chubby sea cows charmingly devouring heads of romaine. Number 99. Disney's aquarium also made news when, for Finding Dory, Pixar animators studied the movements of Destiny the whale shark by observing the real spotted eagle rays at Epcot. Number 100. If you dine next door at the Coral Reef restaurant, you'll get perhaps the world's coolest dinner entertainment. A floor-to-ceiling window into that vibrant undersea world. Watching Mickey Mouse scuba dive by while you enjoy your seafood pasta. Don't worry, all sustainable and not from the tank. In the end, Walt Disney World isn't just a place where Disney creates magic. It's where guests co-create an ever-evolving tapestry of traditions, tributes, and memories together. Each day, a new story unfolds, and you, the guest, are as much a part of it as the castle or the characters. And that, as much as any Imagineer's plan, is the true magic of Disney World. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video if you liked it and subscribe for more like it. We'll see you next time.